Please like my videos, please subscribe to my channel, and please press the bell icon so that you get to know when my latest video has come. And to learn more and to find a video relevant to you, please do check out my videos list.
Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel, Astro Assurance. In our lives, from time to time, we face various challenges, various issues, various problems. Now, one thing that we do is we try and do something about the problem when we face the problem. But how much are we prepared? How much do we anticipate the problem before it comes? For example, if we have children, then we should be aware of and that we should be known and we should be prepared that every now and then there will be issues about children which may crop up. You may have to leave everything and rush because serious matter is at hand about children, whether it's about their education, whether it's about their health, whether it's about some problem they have gotten into, and so on. Same thing about relationship. If you are in a relationship, then you know that the relationship may always not have a smooth sailing. There may be a day when suddenly your spouse says, we need to talk. Those dreaded words. So it's always good to anticipate generally and astrologically what challenges may come upon us so that we are better prepared either to avoid them altogether and also better prepared to handle them when they occur. So firstly, best thing is to anticipate in general also what problems can come. For example, if you are making a lot of investments in stock market, then we should also anticipate that there will be times where the stock market will fluctuate, will go up and down. So then we should have a plan for it. For example, some people keep a average of or a difference of 5% in their stocks moving up and down before they take a decision about it. Similarly, we may also take a decision about a property. We invest in property, then we may also have a plan what we want to do, what we need to intend or what we intend to do with the property or with the investment. If we have the property as a long-term investment, even if the property value fluctuates a little bit, we may not think too much about it. But if it fluctuates drastically and if the property value is going drastically down, then you may need to rethink your strategy. You need to be able to know what to do in such a situation. Same thing about your health. If you are not eating healthy, if you have been abusing your body, if you have had a more sedentary life, you are lethargic, then you can anticipate that sooner than later you will add cholesterol to your body, you will add more fats to your body, you will add more weight to your body, and your body one day may collapse, may give you problems, various kinds of problems. So we should be prepared. If you are doing something wherever we are taking an action or inaction or being lethargic or procrastinating, then there will always be a consequence to our actions. Even if the action is positive, like joining a new job, working under a new boss, getting married, planning to have children, joining a new gym maybe, or trying to do something with your body, whatever decision that you take, even positive decision, there will always be consequences. Generally, we expect positive consequences that come out of our actions, and that's why we take those actions. We will not take an action knowing that there is a negative consequence. However, it is always good to be both generally in life, to be prepared to anticipate what problem may come and be prepared to face it, as well as astrologically. Now, how does an astrological preparation help in being able to anticipate the problem and solve the problem? Firstly, we know that basis our astrological placements, there may be some house or some planet or some area or some karaka which may throw up challenges to us. For example, with a very strongly afflicted 7th house, for a man very strongly afflicted Venus, very strongly afflicted 4th house, which is the domestic life. If all the three are in the huge duress, strong affliction, then the man may face challenges in his relationship, in his committed relationship, also in his love life. For the woman, on the other hand, if a 7th house is strongly afflicted, Jupiter is strongly afflicted, a 4th house is strongly afflicted, as well as a 5th house is strongly afflicted, then she may also face challenges. She may also face issues in her life, in a love life, in a commitment relationship, or wanting to get into a committed relationship but not being able to, or falling out of committed relationship in spite of not wanting to. So a person should anticipate the challenges that one may face based on your astrological placements. If your second house is strongly afflicted, your fourth house is strongly afflicted, your 11th house is strongly afflicted, then definitely there's going to be a challenge about money. If the fifth house is strongly afflicted as well, then your investments may give you a challenge about money. If your 10th house is strongly afflicted, your 5th house, which is the 8th house to the 10th house, is strongly afflicted, your second house is strongly afflicted, then you may have a challenge in your career, in your livelihood, in your savings. So basis which houses are strongly afflicted, what karakas are strongly afflicted, we need to be prepared mentally and astrologically that this is an area which is a weak area for me, basis my astrological chart, basis my astrological placements, and so I need to be a little wary, I need to be more careful about these areas and be prepared how to handle it. So best way to handle a problem is to be better prepared and to anticipate it and know what your strengths are, what your challenges are, what your weak areas are. And that's why we also do the astrological matching of horoscopes when we are getting into a marriage. If we have certain afflictions in our houses in basis a relationship, we try and see that they should be complemented by stronger houses, similar houses in a spouse's astrological chart. So there is a balance. If both your 7th house is very strongly afflicted, if you are a man and your Venus is afflicted, for a woman, your potential partner, her 7th house is also strongly afflicted and Jupiter is strongly afflicted, yet you both want to get married, then you're calling for trouble. If you're planning to get married because you are in love with each other, then you can anticipate that these can be a challenge in the future and you will have to work harder to avoid problems and to keep the relationship stable. So that is what anticipation means, by virtue of knowing very well what your astrological placements are. Second, if you have not anticipated or you have anticipated and the problem comes upon you, then how do you handle the problem? How do you solve the problem? For this, the zodiac has taken care of by giving us not one but 3 mind planets. One planet, which the planet of understanding, empathy, is the moon. Moon gives us a chance to be supportive, to be caring, to understand other people's point of view, to be able to appreciate their point of view and to be able to empathize with them. Understanding, empathy, appreciation all goes with moon. And also adding an emotional bit of it, where you can also, apart from empathizing, you also emotionally stand by with that person. Then the second planet which is given to us is the planet of analysis, intelligence, cleverness, decision making, practicality, logic, which is Mercury. This is given to us so that we can take weight decisions, practical decisions, educated decisions, intelligent decisions, and a decision based on proper analysis, weighing the pros and cons of a decision. And the third planet, the mind planet, which is given to us is the planet Jupiter, which is the planet of wisdom, which is the planet which gives you the foresight, which gives you the planet to think far, to be far-sighted, to have the foresight and to think long ways ahead, and then according to that be able to handle the decision, and also being somebody who has a big heart, being large-hearted and taking a decision with wisdom, depending on wise counsel, depending on your learning, depending on your knowledge, depending on your experiences, and handling challenges. So yeah, if you have anticipated problem or vice versa, and if you are facing a problem, the first thing you need to see is which mind planet is the strongest planet in your horoscope concerning that area, and use that most to handle the problem. Because what happens, even if your Mercury says strongest, but Mercury is not related to the 7th house. Moon rules the 7th house, or moon aspects the 7th house, or 7th lord is placed with the moon, not with Mercury. But here you are trying to take an analytical decision because you are a person who has a very strong analytical bent of mind. You are always looking logically at problem solving, and so you are approaching even your relationship with a very, very analytical mind, logical mind, practical mind. But you are not approaching it with emotions. You are not approaching it with a bent of mind to understand, to empathize. Even if you are not wrong, but the spouse is feeling down, out, she's feeling sad, she's feeling not being appreciated, not being cared for, not being listened to, not being valued, not being desired, then it is the job of the spouse, the partner, to be able to appreciate the problem, maybe give a hug, show your appreciation, show your love and care and affection at that point of time, handle that issue more sensitively, and then later on maybe sit down and look at it, logically, practically, whatever what you want to do. However, your approach to problem solving where relationships are concerned, when moon rules the 7th house or moon aspects it or is forming a strong relationship with the 7th house, is about empathy, is about understanding, and that's how you solve problems related to the area that you are facing and what planets are establishing a relationship with that house. Even if you have some other planet which is strong, and you are using that for a problem which is related to the other mind planet, then you may get into a challenge. The other hand, if say for example moon rules the 7th house, but moon is in a very strong affliction, then while you depend on emotions, you may be over emotional about a situation because of which a challenge has come. So you need to be aware of your weakness. That's where anticipation comes into the picture. So when you're facing a challenge and you're being over emotional about something, then it may not help, especially if the planet is under strong affliction. So whichever area of life that you're facing a challenge, if the planet which is ruling that is a mind planet and is strongly afflicted, then you should always depend on the fallback planet. The fallback planet in most of the circumstances is your Jupiter. Where is Jupiter placed, and is Jupiter helping in any way by aspect related to the planet or aspecting that sign, aspecting that house? Say for example, if the particular 7th house we are talking about here is ruled by Mercury, is Jupiter aspecting any of Mercury's signs, either Gemini or Virgo, whichever the 7th house is? Either of the two signs, if Jupiter is aspecting, it will bring some comfort to the 7th house also, to relationships also. Or Jupiter is directly aspecting the 7th lord itself or in conjunction with it, or Jupiter is in conjunction with a planet, which planet sign Mercury or the 7th lord is placed with. So we need to be able to see these relations and use Jupiter to the maximum. Now if for example here moon is strongly afflicted, Jupiter is not establishing any relationship with the 7th house, but Mercury is establishing a very strong relationship with the 7th house by virtue of being placed with the moon which is in strong affliction, or Mercury placed in the Lagna and now aspecting the 7th house. So if the 7th house is a house which is afflicted and its lord is also afflicted, and Mercury is aspecting the 7th house, a mind planet, here it's important to use your analysis also. However, keep in mind that the 7th house is more about emotion. So use your logical bent of mind, but don't be clever, don't be manipulative, be ethical, which means try and put more effort to understand, to empathize with the logical bent of mind. So use your logical premise, use your intellect, use how you balance pros and cons, but the balance should be more towards a relationship, keeping the relationship intact and being more clever and tactful also, that there is a give and a take in relationship. So today if I give more, I may be able to extract more out of it later, and that's what Mercury is. Mercury is taking a logical decision. Mercury is looking into the pros and cons. So be able to look into the pros and cons with a desire to look at it from an understanding perspective, a relationship perspective, balancing perspective. Give more now in the relationship, empathize more, understand more, and ensure the problem is solved, and expect the reciprocation later on, so that in the present moment the problem is solved. So how you use your mind planet is important basis which problem you are facing. For example, if you are facing a problem in your career, in your job, and you find that Mercury is related to the 10th house in your related to career, and Mercury is strongly afflicted, Mercury is debilitated, Mercury is placed with two malefics, then your fallback planet is definitely Jupiter. However, if Jupiter is also under affliction, then you may be able to use your moon here. What does moon do? Moon will surely give you a high level of emotionality. So here it is your job to curb the emotional part and enhance the understanding part. enhance the empathy orientation, which means look at the thing from the other person's perspective, trying to understand the situation from your boss's point of view, which boss, supervisors, managers, authority figures are strongly related to the 10th house. Here we are talking about your career, your job. So be very, very logical, of course, because Mercury is the planet which rules the 10th house, but here the fallback planet Jupiter is also afflicted. So how do you utilize your moon? By empathizing or understanding your boss's perspective, the company's perspective, the challenge. So here you may say, okay, you are not being able to take a very logical decision whether to join, to remain in the company or not, whether to lose the job and move out of the company or not, because you may take a wrong decision because your Mercury is strongly afflicted. So here it always helps to go with more empathy and understanding. Try and use your understanding of which moon gives you by sitting down and thinking, okay, let me analyze what my situation is. Let me empathize with my bosses from all counts. That how do I help my boss be happy with me? How do I help the company do good? How do I help my team? Look at it from all perspectives of understanding. If after all your effort trying to understand, analyze and appreciate the situation and be more giving, yet somehow your gut feeling is not to go with empathy, you still want to go with an emotional decision or a logical decision to quit, then you may still take the step. But always first give the chance of one of the mind planets to be given a chance to use that energy, to use that strength to be able to solve the problem before you go to the actual planet which rules it. So there will always be one planet, either Jupiter or Moon or Mercury, which will be strongest in your horoscope or stronger than the other, and whichever of these planets is forming a connection with whichever area of life where you are facing a problem, use that to handle it. Now sometimes the Karakas also help. So for example, if it's about children and say your 5th house is ruled by Sun, so here what is Sun? Sun is about accountability, Sun is about responsibility, and if you're facing a challenge about children, then here you need to take the responsibility, you need to take the accountability. But what is the Karaka of children? Jupiter is the Karaka of children. What does Jupiter stand for? Experience, learning, being large-hearted and using wisdom. So with children, being large-hearted, using your wisdom, using your learning and depending on experience. So for example, reaching out to somebody who have good children, you know that their children have been brought about well, then reaching out to those people who proven themselves to be good parents, wise parents, because they have raised a good progeny, depending on their experience to get wise counsel from them will also not only strengthen your Jupiter but also help you to solve the problem about children, because Jupiter is the Karaka of children, while being the Sun, taking accountability, taking responsibility and being humble in how you approach the problem related to children. So use the planet which rules the particular area, use the mind planet which is getting connected to that house, and use the strongest mind planet to be able to solve the problem. If it's about money, you are facing money challenges, then look at which is the house lord which rules the 2nd house, specifically more important the 2nd house, then the 11th house and the 4th house, but 2nd house lord becomes very, very important. And see with which planet is the 2nd house or 2nd house lord establishing a relationship with which mind planet, which means that planet has to be used to solve the challenges about income, about livelihood, about saving. Say for example, the 2nd house is ruled by Saturn. The 2nd house is either Capricorn or Aquarius. Then see what is Saturn? Saturn means commitment. Saturn means stability. Saturn means persevering. Saturn means putting more hard work. Saturn means being patient and allowing time to heal and sort out things while you are continuously working hard. But if you are facing a challenge in your earning, in your livelihood, and you need to take a decision immediately, you can't persevere for long, you can't be patient. You can be patient if you are facing a challenge about your income. If you are not able to do something, then you may continue to be committed and you take a decision slowly over a period of time, looking at pros and cons, and then after persevering for some time yet you are not able to solve the problem, then you attack the problem. If Saturn rules the second house, but we look at which is the strongest planet in such a situation. See, if your strongest planet is Jupiter, then whatever decision you take about your livelihood, take a decision based on your learning, which means look historically in the same role or with your colleagues, what has happened in the situation, what is happening in the company, take a wise decision. Be large-hearted also. Sometimes it's not important to quit the job just because you're not getting the income that you think you deserve, or the promotion or the growth that you deserve. It is not wise sometimes to be taking those decisions, especially Jupiter is aspecting or placed with Saturn, or establishing some relationship with the second house through aspect or placed with Saturn, or in any other way some planet is placed in the second house and Jupiter placed in that planet sign, then Jupiter is establishing a relationship with the second house. Then a wise decision, depending on wise counsel, taking learned decisions is very important. But here, instead of Jupiter, if Mercury is the ruler or forming in some relationship with the second house or with the ruler of the second house, which is Saturn, then here being patient but also weighing your pros and cons, that if I wait some more time, will it help? If I wait for a year, will it help? Negotiating with the boss, taking up those projects which you feel will be useful to push your case harder, or bidding your time in the company while looking out for a better growth, for a better opportunity, and then when you get the chance, moving out. If Mercury is involved, if it's the moon, then empathizing with the situation, empathizing and knowing, but not taking an emotional decision because your Saturn and moon are involved. So being patient, being persevering in the situation, but also empathizing that okay, right now maybe it's not the right decision for me to move out. I need to appreciate that this is an important job for me. I may not get another job immediately, I may not get higher livelihood. So weighing your pros and cons is important, but understanding and appreciating your position, being grateful for what the Lord has given to you. But if you emotionally strongly feel that you need to quit, you need to do something else, then start looking out for a job as soon as possible, and then once you find the job, then quit. But don't take an emotional decision to first quit and then find the job. Then you may be acting more out of emotion rather than empathy and understanding. So whichever problem you're facing in life, whether you're facing about relationship, about health, about children, about career, about money, about investments, look into which house, which planet rules that house, which mind planet is getting associated with that house, with the ruler of the house, and what karakas are involved, and basis that use all three combined to be able to first anticipate the problem and then solve the problem. And last but not the least, do those actions, play that character which will strengthen the ruler of that house, whichever planet rules that house, and whichever mind planet is establishing a relationship with that house. For example, if it's about career, and if your 10th house is ruled by Mars, then understand that using your willpower, strong willpower, is very, very important. And if Mercury is forming a relationship with the 10th house, then having a strong willpower but being very analytical, being very practical, always taking educated decision is the name of the game. So know which area of your house, which area of your life you may face problems because the astrological placements are weak, astrological placements are afflicted, the house is afflicted, the house lord is afflicted, there are doshas, there are malefics connected to that. And then after anticipating the planet, the challenge, that area, strengthening the ruler of that house, that planet which rules that house, and the karaka of that house, as well as the mind planet which is establishing a relationship with that house, is critical. If you do that, you will find that most of your challenges in life, most of the problems which are anticipated or unanticipated and suddenly rise their head, you will be able to handle them better because you're using the right strengths, you're using the right resources, you're using the right fallback planet to be able to approach the problem, solve the problem, and get out of the problem. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me with the links given below. Until some other time with some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off.